Hello, everyone, and welcome to Judy's Creations in Crochet. Today is October the 31st, 2024, and happy Halloween to everyone. And no, I'm not wearing a Halloween costume. That's not something I generally do. I want to welcome everybody to my channel. If you are new here, we're all about crochet, and I do talk about yarn, particularly hand-dyed yarn, quite a bit. And I focus on Canadian indie dyers, so you would know where to find some great yarn. And to all my returning subscribers, I'm happy to see you again. I appreciate your support for these past 3 years. I'm coming to you from Chatham, Ontario, which is very, very southern tip of Ontario and Canada. And I sat down to start taping this an hour ago, and I got sidetracked with a phone call and information, and if I seem all kind of up there confused, for those of you that have been following me at all, you know that I am helping out dealing with the process of a very close friend who is dependent on me for help. She has had a severe stroke and is now in a long-term care facility. And I just got word, which excites me, that she's being moved from one long-term care to another. And it is what we've been waiting for over a month. Where she is right now is out of town, at least a half an hour, and she's getting moved to a facility back in Chatham where I am. And I am so relieved that this is happening, and she will be only a few blocks away from me. And it meant that I had to call and arrange transportation, and the one company can't do what the other place wants. And I've been on the phone back and forth, hearing everybody's story about why they can't do what has to be done and why it's the wrong time. And I'm telling you, I'm worn out from all of those phone calls, but I don't care. It means life is going to be easier once we get through this week. So anyhow, here I am. Sorry to unload all the details on you, but my life is going to become much, much simpler when she finally gets moved into town this week, which I'm very, very, very thankful for. And I am thankful for all of you out there who have been sending me their thoughts and prayers. I'm thinking that all those prayers helped get her back into town before the bad weather hit. And now I can breathe a sigh of relief. So let's get down to business. And the first thing I want to say is this is going to be a longer video. So maybe you should pull up a chair, sit down, get your drink of choice, whether it be tea, coffee, or a cold drink, put up your feet, maybe grab your crocheting to have something to focus on while you watch this. As you know, this is our week for the slideshow. Is normally should have been tomorrow, but given how busy my life is, it's good that I can tape this a few days ahead and have it out for you, because I'm going to be busy moving all over the place on Thursday when you actually are watching this. So yes, instead of a video today, Thursday, when it should be, and another one tomorrow, it's all together in this one video, which is going to be longer. So I've already wasted nearly 5 minutes. So I am not wearing any crochet today. Didn't have time to find something to wear, but I am wearing, I don't know if you remember these, but I showed you these earrings that I actually bought last spring when I went to Knit City, Toronto. They are made of wood and they come from a company called the Woodlot, and they are up near Owen Sound in Ontario. And it says our earrings, and they do have other things like shawl pins and whatever. Our earrings are made from Ontario wood, handmade with care. Wood slices and bits are finished with natural beeswax polish or pure tongue nut oil, and then I think it's and paired with sterling silver ear wires to make a beautiful piece of tree that you can wear for years. And they are quite lovely. They have a wonderful selection. I would encourage you to check them out. And yeah, so I have something kind of associated with yarn because I got it at the Yarn Fleece Festival last spring. Next comes finished objects, and I don't have a crochet piece finished, but I will talk later about a piece I am working on. But what I did finish actually more than a week ago was another diamond painting, and I wanted to get this done real quick because I showed you about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks now, a fall one with fall leaves and whatever, a wreath, that it was on the door until this past weekend. I switched it off and put on the black cat with the pumpkins and the purple hat, and it will stay until Friday or Saturday this week. And then I wanted something kind of fallish to put up, so I just finished this last week. I think it's really cute and adorable, and that will go on my door until December. And I am waiting for an order to arrive where I will make something small to hang that is Christmassy to put on the door for the month of December. So that is my finished object. You can see the glitter on it. My finished object for this past week. I have another finished object to show you, and I will show you just before we start the slideshow. It is my finished object for the month that works with the inspiration bird. I will show you that in just a wee bit. But before we go there, I first need to wet my whistle. I thought what we would do next is talk about the Halloween minis collection that I've been doing. And here's the board with the minis to date. I really enjoyed the first day. The second day, not quite so much. I'm hoping we get back over to maybe purples. That would be Halloweenish, and so on. So we have day 10 to 13 as normal minis, and then we have day 14, which is 100-gram full skein. So I'm going to start with day 10. I'm showing you these stickers because I have to guess they have something to do with, oh, I forgot to show you the bag for those that are new. This is called Stranger Strings, a play on the program Stranger Things, which I know absolutely nothing about. I don't watch any TV. Sorry for all the crinkling, but, and day 10, Scoops Ahoy. Oh, now this is in a color that I really like. That is pretty. Nice pale greens and blues and pinks. So we'll attach that to the board. There is no rhyme or reason here. The colors, I guess, are all based on the actual names or things that come from that program. And day 11 has this. Nobody's told me if these pictures relate to the program or not. I don't know, they're pretty strange looking. Yeah, it fits Stranger Things. So day 11. And the card that goes with it is Leaving Hawkins. And I definitely like this. A nice neutral. It has some browns in it. And although this is gray, it has kind of a beigey tinge to it. We're going to be crowded here. Going to be crowded for those last two. Okay, 12 is next. And are these people in the show? You would know. I don't. And again, I'm thinking that I got Sparkle. I'm sure you're seeing the Sparkle because I asked for it. Will, I guess Will is a character. And this one's not too bad. I know it has gold or yellow in it, but I really, really like the reds, pinks and reds and browns. That's definitely one I can like. Crowd this one in. And the room for one more. Day 13 and Friends Don't Lie. And so the colors, I'm guessing, somehow relate to these cards that are in it. Hellfire Club, day 13. And that color is, okay, we got a bunch of yellow again, but we still have the red, black, gray. There was a fair bit of yellow in this whole set. So there we have the 13 minis to this set. Some I really, really like, others not so much. Okay, so one last thing to do, and that is to check out the extra skein that comes with it, day 14. Now, I'll open this so you can see the, oh, it's the emblem for Stranger Things. Like, is that the logo on the show? And here we have, oh, I'm liking this. Oh, I guess I better pull that out first. Day 14 just says Stranger Things. So far, I like what I'm seeing. Oh, this is very pretty. Very pretty. And I'm going to give you a little hint. This would be very, very useful for next year, one of the months. I really, really like that. I really do. That is very pretty. Does it go with all of this? Well, it goes with some of it. But I know it's a skein I would definitely use. And I don't have red or black gray in Sparkle. I don't think I have black and Sparkle. So this may be a one skein project, probably a CJ Brady, but that is so, so pretty. I like it. It was really worth it to get that particular skein of yarn. Very pretty. I'd like to get another one. It'd be nice to make a shawl in that, wouldn't it? Or an asymmetrical triangle. But I would love a shawl in that color. But anyhow, I will make something. So that's our Halloween mini set. Once again, there are the skeins. I will in the future be giving some of these away or putting them in a prize pack or something, because I have a lot of minis and Christmas is coming, and I have on order 3 Advent sets for Christmas. And one of them I have a plan for, but I don't know what's going to be in the other 2. So, yeah, I won't need all of these. Now, while we're talking minis, I'm going to take just a minute to comment on the fact that, and a lot of you would know this, but you may not pay attention. It's worth going into my description box, because I have a link in my description box that takes you to a bundle I have created in Ravelry. There are 2 links. One link is to crochet patterns that use minis, or could use minis, or it could use leftovers, whatever's in your stash kind of thing, but definitely could use minis. And I have to believe there's well over 70, I think even more than 70 patterns in that bundle. And there's another link to a bundle that is just knit patterns using minis, and I think there's 40 or 50. I didn't go looking for knit ones, but when I came across knit ones, I put them in that bundle. So there are lots of patterns out there that are great for using minis and leftovers. And I've done the work for you. You don't have to go searching. And there's all kinds of patterns, scarves and blankets and shawls, you name it, there are patterns, a lot of patterns. So that's it for our Halloween mini project, Advents. That is so pretty. I can't wait to work with this. Alrighty, so what am I going to do next? I think we're going to switch gears, and we're going to move these bags out of the way. I think I will switch over now and do the slideshow. I know you're all waiting for that. Do the slideshow for the month and talk about, my project and the inspiration for next month. I know you're all waiting to hear about next month's bird. You're going to be surprised. And then I have something else I want to talk to you about. So first, I'm going to get out this. You'll remember, I'm going to put the picture up here of the bird. And you'll remember I had 3 colors, but I did not use this one. I found a pattern I liked that used the 2 other colors, and so that's what I went with. So there's another mini that somebody may be in possession of at a later date. So using the other 2 colors, I had only this much left of the first color, and I had this much left of the second color. Okay, the pattern I made was the Sherlyn, Sherlyn shawl. I don't remember the designer's name, but I will for sure post it in my description box below if you're interested in it. And it started with this, and it is a big asymmetrical triangle, and then you introduce the brown and you finish with it. I'll put some pictures of it on the mannequin and a big one of it spread on the wall. This yarn here is Color of My Fiber. You've heard me talk about her a fair bit lately. I was getting her monthly mystery yarn until she stopped doing that. This is a fingering weight 80 merino, 20 nylon, pretty standard. And I made some adjustments, and it's a good thing because I could not have done anything more with this little bit I have left over. And here's the adjustment I made. When you introduce this, and I'll talk about that yarn in a minute, then you're supposed to put 6 rows. It's a 2-row repeating pattern, and it's supposed to have 6 rows here. And you can see I only did 4 there, and 4 and 4. I suspected that I wouldn't have enough yarn, so I decided to make these sections smaller. I'm really glad I did, because I just managed to finish what I had with that little bit left over, and then this brown. Now this brown is really nice. I don't have the tag, but I am positive it has alpaca in it. I'm thinking this is one of the yarns that I got from Knit Crate back when I had their subscription. You can see all the fuzzy and the halo in it. But I'm quite pleased with this, and in fact, it made it almost, although it was the pattern like an asymmetrical triangle growing on one side, it happens where I finished it to be into a regular triangle that I can do like this. As you could see from the pictures I posted, it can be worn as a triangular shawl. So that is what I made for this month. I was quite happy with my choice and quite happy with how it worked out. And as I said, it was a very straightforward pattern, and I was quite happy with it. So that's what I had to make. Now we're ready to see what all of you have made. So we're going to start with Nina, who made this scarf. Nina is from Massachusetts, and she made this scarf and said she made a few alterations, but it's basically a V and puff stitches. Then we have Linan from Florida, who made these fingerless gloves. Next is Bonnie from Pennsylvania, and she made this sunflower dishcloth, and it is a Bernat free pattern. Next is Naomi in Washington State, and she made something called a Pokemon Ditto, an amigurumi, and it's a free pattern. And do I see sparkle in there, Naomi? And Rebecca from Mississippi has made this vest cardigan, and I don't know anything more about it. She didn't really give me any information. Then we have Melissa from Texas. We have 2 Melissas now. Melissa from Texas made these coasters. She says the brown ones were made from a pattern from Jada in Stitches, and then the others were nothing specific. Next, we have Renee from Alabama, who made this baby pullover with a matching hat. I have to suspect there's a baby in your life, Rebecca. You've been making baby things lately. Then we have Judith, who is from California. And this is a amigurumi called Trunk the Turtle. And it's an Instagram collaboration between two people, and only one she mentioned was Crochet, Crochy. Some of you may be familiar with that Instagram handle, but he's cute. Then we have Cheryl from Oregon, and she made this hat, which is called Pebble Puff by MJ's Off the Hook, a YouTube channel tutorial. And the ornaments you see with it, she said, were done freehand. Next, Anvita, who is from India, has done this hat, which she said was a test knit. And Judy T, who is in Ontario, has done another serendipity, a splendid serendipity. And once again, it's from Loopy Stitch. And I'm wondering how many you have. Have you done more than the actual 10, one per month? You're going to have a big job at the end of the year putting them together. Then Raylene, who is from South Australia, has done this easy crochet baby blanket. Apparently it's adapted from a pattern by Crystal at Bag a Day. And then she did 6 coasters, and she says the larger one will become doilies. Christine from Kentucky has done this 11 by 11 square. It's called the Stacked Shell Granny Square. Again, a pattern from Jada in Stitches. Denise is in Minnesota, and she had no pattern for this and said that although it looks orange, it really is more brown in person. Kathy in Ontario has done this autumn meadow shawl, and it's a pattern by Sarah from, my writing was better this month, but something and Mimi. N starts with N, but I can't read the rest of my writing. Sorry about that. Ellen from Illinois has made this hat and scarf pattern, and she says there is no specific pattern for the two of them. I think it's great when some of you can just make these things and do it on your own. And Debbie P is from Arizona, and she has done what I call a fashion scarf. It is a C.J. Brady pattern, and it is called Just Breathe. For some reason, I thought there were 2 things from her, and I don't have a note about the second, so we may or may not see a second item. Now, Deb from Arizona made this pair of socks, and made a comment she will not be making socks next month, so I don't know if they were a bit of a challenge or she doesn't enjoy making socks. I'm not sure what that was about. Adam, who is from the UK, made this cowl, and it is based on the beginning of the cowl. It's not a full shawl, but it's based on the Granny Merge shawl. I could see it there. Then we have Lillian, who is from Ontario, and she has knit this scarf, and is called the Winter Flame Scarf by Ben Matthews. And Susan, who is from New Jersey, has made these granny squares for Jada in Stitches. I think Jada in Stitches has a year-long blanket or something going made with granny squares. We've heard a lot about Jada in Stitches today. Then Barbara B., who is in Missouri, has knitted this dickie, and it is a pattern from Crazy Hands Knitting and Crocheting, and it's a YouTube channel tutorial. And Maria from Massachusetts made this scarf. Again, I consider it a fashion scarf, and it is called Obtusey by Miss Busy Fingers, and that can be found in Ravelry. Ms. M.S. Busy Fingers. Then Barbara M., who is in Alberta, with quite a number of knitted things here, has knitted this cowl. It's a ribbed cowl from Lion Brand, and she said it was great practice for her knitting. Good for you. And Sherry, who is from Alabama, has made this star throw, she says, for Christmas. And Cindy, who is in Costa Rica, made this Justice shawl, and it is by Cats, Hooks and Brushes. And Vicky, who is from California, has made this Easy Breezy shawl. It's a pattern from Kristen Omdahl, but there's probably many out there just like this. It's your basic granny square shawl. Then Jackie from North Carolina has made this hat, which is from Thimble Hooks Crochet, and again, found on YouTube. Then Tina, who is in Australia, she made this cowl and fingerless gloves set. She says the cowl pattern is from Crochet Me Lovely, and the gloves come from Crochet with Gigi. I have to guess they are on YouTube. Carmen from California said she used a mini skein set for this infinity scarf by Lucienne Crochet. Rosanna in Ontario has made this rectangular, I had to change the wording, she said rectangular granny square blanket. Now, we can't call it rectangular and granny. It's based on your granny square, your basic granny square, but it's made into a rectangle, and it is a blanket that, once again, will go into her donation box. And another Alyssa, this Melissa is in Pennsylvania, and she made this oversized scarf. She said what she did was she took the pattern for the Hygge Friendship Blanket and then adjusted it down to a scarf size. And she found it on Daisy Farm Crafts, but they have a link to Yarnspiration, so it must be one of Yarnspiration's free patterns. Next, we have Bonnie. Bonnie is from here in Chatham, and she has made this shawl, and she said it was an EFA pattern, but she didn't tell me which one. An EFA pattern with adjustments. Then we have Lisa, who is in Ontario, And she's made this shawl, which is called the Omar, O-M-A-R, Omar Wrap, and it's a pattern by Tony Lipsy. And Debbie W. has made this hat, and it's a berry and mesh stitch hat by Daisy Farm Crafts. That's Daisy Farm Crafts twice now. Then Kimberly, and she didn't tell me, oh, Debbie W is in California. I didn't write it down, but I do remember that. But Kimberly didn't tell me where she's from. And it's called the, excuse me, Lift Your Spirits Shawl. Very unique. And it is by Mandobug Crochet. Josephine, who is in North Carolina, said she tried to make one thing with the colors and it wasn't working out. So she gave up on, she just had some yellow, but that's quite all right, Josephine. And she made these dangly bananas. See the line of bananas. And it was a free Instagram pattern by Little Crocheted Things. L-I-L, just Lil Crocheted Things. And if you look carefully over to the far left, I believe it is, in the midst of them is a yellow chubby bunny. And that pattern is by Lauren Espy. Then Donna from New York made this amigurumi called the Barrel Cactus. And it's a pattern by Nuria Alvarez. And she also made this cowl, which is a C.J. Brady pattern called Shine On. Next, we have Lillian from Singapore, who has made this doily / mandala. And Janet, who is also from Singapore, has made this granny square chicken. And it's from Sweet Softies on YouTube, and commented that it was a great way to use up some leftovers. And then Judy, and that would be Judy C. from Ontario, has made this baby blanket. A pattern on YouTube. I don't know if I didn't put enough notes here. I don't know. That's all I have. Then we have Demetra. Again, I don't know where she's from. And this is a Crocheted Simplicities mini mystery cow. I guess she was involved in this mystery cow and made this item, and I didn't even write down what it is. Then Tammy, and I have to tell you, Tammy is in Ontario. She lives in a small town outside of Chatham a little bit, and she goes in a lot of craft shows. And although she's been watching me for a while, she says she just hasn't had time to participate because she goes in so many craft shows. Listen to this. She is in, this fall, 11 craft shows. I don't know how you'd find time to do all the craft shows, let alone make enough items for the craft shows. But I convinced her that she just needed to make one of her items in our colors, so she did. So here is one of, it's called Little Cotton Rabbit. It's knitted, and it's by Julie Williams. So the brown was perfect for the animal, and she made his little outfit or sweater in the colors of our bird. And we have this submission from Donna B. And I don't know where Donna's located, but you can see She has made this baby doll granny square blanket, and the information is all written on the little piece of paper that she put in the picture. I hope it is big enough that you're able to read it. And finally, a little bit late, but she made it in time, Marie from Virginia did another blanket. Every month she does blankets for Boggy Creek. And she said this one is done in the waffle stitch. And that brings our total to 44 items this month. We're getting pretty consistently in the 40 to 45 range. I was really pleased that we made the 50 last month, but people are busy and can't always do that extra special effort to get something in all the time. But 44 is a good number, and I'm really pleased with consistently getting that many. I do want to one more time ask you, when you send it to me, be sure to put in the subject line that you are sending for the bird of the month, or some people put the name of the month, that you put your name and where you are from. You may have told me before. You may have told me 5 times before. That doesn't mean I remember. When I have 40 some people sending it, unless it's somebody I've gotten to know over the last 3 years, some of you I know personally, then I do know where you are. But most of you, it just, putting 2 letters with the state short form does it for me. It's not that much extra for you, and then I know where you're coming from. We also, as you notice, appreciate knowing the pattern name and designer if you know it. So that is appreciated as well. So something's happening. I have to check. Okay, sorry about that, but we had finished everybody's picture. So I'm really happy about that, but I just want to emphasize that I do appreciate getting that information. So what's next? Well, I know that the 2 things you're looking forward to. The next step is to find my wheel of fortune, we'll call it. And I'll get up here real close, and once I tap it, I'll get in really close. Okay, so all your names are on there, although I'm sure you can't read them. And I'll tap it, and then I'll bring it up close, and we'll see who the lucky person is. And we will wait for it to stop. Donna in New York. Well, congratulations, Donna. You have won the cake. Here is the cake. I don't know if you can see, but it is sparkly grays, light gray, and into pink. I really think this is a really pretty cake. There's the easy start if you want to start in the center. So Donna, I need you to contact me and give me your mailing address. And once I get it, I will get this in the mail for you, and it will go out just as soon as I hear from you. And this has this is a yarn art flowers moonlight. I don't know if you've ever used it, and it has 1,000 meters, so it makes a quite substantial shawl. You can make something else with it as well, but that's the item that Kathy has won this month. And once again, Kathy not Kathy, Donna. Kathy just called me, so I have her name on my brain. But Donna from New York, please get in touch with me. Congratulations. Now, I am beginning to think that this is the most exciting part of your month, people. You're waiting for the inspiration for November. And it's a little bit different than what I've been showing you all year. So here we go. I'm going to flash it across the screen and leave it there for a few seconds so that, here we go, here it is, so that you can take a screenshot or whatever it is you do so that you have it to look at throughout the month and decide what you're going to do. Now, personally, I think this is a very easy month because it's mostly browns. I don't think it's hard to find browns. There's a lot of shades of brown in there, not light taupey colors, but browns. There's a lot of shades of brown in there. Is there some black in there? But I think you should not have too much trouble finding those colors. And here is what I've got: 2 skeins, a solid, and I think this is the same brown. Where's last month's? I just lost my item from last month. Oh, it's on me. Oh no, it's not the same color, but it is the same yarn. So I'm going to use this brown, and I'm going to use this. This is from Savvy Skeins. Isn't that nice? And put it with this brown, and I'm going to get another shawl that is sort of similar to this, not the exact same pattern, but I have several where one color works into another. I have a bundle of patterns that are 2 colored patterns, and I'll look through it and find something. So I'm going to hold it up here. I don't want to put a shadow on it, but I want to put it up here next to the picture that I always put beside me so you can see how this goes. And I think that this is going to be an easy month to find the colors to make something. So there is November. November's bird. Doesn't look quite as exotic as all of the others, but it came up under tropical birds. So there's what you've been waiting for. And I, once again, am always excited and interested to see what you come up with. So that's that. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is this: what I have been working on. I decided that I should get in the middle of this picture. I decided that I was going to participate in Gary's fall mood board, Mal. I will find the video where Gary talks about it, and I will link it down below. And for the fall, I participated last spring. If you remember, it was about music. But this month, this fall, this season, it's about friendship. So you are to pick a person, and you cannot put the person's picture in it. No people appear in your mood board. But you pick a person, maybe that means something to you, that you want to put things that maybe you have in common or that describe each of you, and you put items on the mood board, and then you come up with some words, and then you find a pattern to make something to represent your mood board. Well, I decided that this is what I'm going to do. It's not a secret. You can make it anonymous, but mine is not going to be a secret. And I'll show you the mood board in just a moment. But a lot of you, I'm going to mention this again. I mentioned it at the beginning. I have a very good friend that had a major stroke in the spring, and I have been dealing with that for the last, well, I guess that's almost 6 months, 5 months anyway. And I thought I would do the mood board and make something for her. So this mood board will tell you a little bit about our friendship. And that's what I tried to do, was describe our friendship. And first of all, her name is Rose. Rose and I met through my retail store. I had, some of you know this that have been around for a while. I once, in the late 90s and into about 2000 and I think it was 2008 when I finally closed it, from 97 to 2008. I actually had a cross stitch retail store. Rose was at that time, when I first met her, living on a sailboat in the Caribbean. And she would come in with her sister, who was in North Carolina. They would come in occasionally to the store because Mom was living here in Chatham. They were originally from this area. They grew up in Stony Creek, for any of you, Stony Point, for any of you know this, know Southwestern Ontario, will know as a little French community outside of Chatham. But anyway, I met her through the store. She was a cross stitcher, so of course I have cross stitching on the board. But before I show you the board and the other items, I want to mention that we both like blues and purples. Now, she likes some other colors different than me, but we both like blues and purples. So I tried to find the items to represent us that had some blues, or when I could, purples in the pictures. So I'm going to put the mood board up here and split the screen with it and talk about the items that are on it. As I said, we were both cross stitchers. So you see a cross stitch of a blue lady. That's mine and in my bedroom. And then you see another cross stitch that has some blue tones, but it has the teal colors. And this is one Rose did. And she did it on a hand-dyed fabric. And she used some silk flosses in it. And she has since given it to me, and it's on the wall in my living room above my chair where I crochet. At one point down the road, and as I've told this story before, how I got it back into crochet. And when I started crocheting for the mission group at church, she saw me crocheting and said, well, I can do that. So I taught her to crochet, and we both crocheted. Now, I don't know that I could find, I found some items I have made in blue to put in for crochet pictures. Rose mostly crocheted blankets and shawls for donation. So everything she's made has gone to those places. And we were fortunate enough for the fall donation that I just made this week to have 6 blankets Rose made last spring in that box. But as you can imagine, she will not be crocheting anymore. The other thing that was something we did a lot of together was jigsaw puzzles. Now, they're every color in the world, but I picked one particularly that we really liked and we're going to do again, although we haven't got to it. And it has a fair bit of blues and that kind of thing in it. And she did the bottom section with the winter, and I did the top section with the spring and summer. So we have done this puzzle, 2,000 pieces. So we had that in common. Another thing we had in common, besides those items that we do, those hobbies, is, I had to put in a purple box and paw prints on it because we both had cats and love cats. And although hers had passed away, her second one not too long ago, she was volunteering at the animal shelter here in town. I still have cats. So we have cats in common. And really coincidentally, you'll see a square that has a blue stone on it, and I got that from looking for sapphires, and that is supposed to be a picture of a sapphire because her birthday is the day before mine. Imagine that. So we are both sapphire September babies. And I think that pretty much covers the pictures in my mood board. So to come up with 3 words was a problem for me. To start, I couldn't get 3. I did get 2, as you see, and one was creative. I mean, we were both into cross stitch and crochet, and to me those are creative hobbies. And we love cats, and she volunteered 4 days a week, about 3 hours each time and I think that was a really exceptionally caring thing for her to be doing. So creative and caring weren't a problem, but I wanted to come up with some word for puzzle, and as puzzling didn't sound right, puzzler. I don't know if there's a word for it, but if there is a word, without getting the official word for the hobby of doing jigsaw puzzles, I did look that up, and it's a big word, can't pronounce it. But if you could think of something else that would have something to do with that, that would be, I'd appreciate hearing, and I'll add that word to the board before I send it to Gary at Urban Yarn, who is running this mal. So far, that's my mood board. And I was quite happy with it in the end. I got blues and purples in there, and I got something to represent the various things that we do. So next it was, what was I going to make? Well, in the situation Rose is in, it's kind of hard to come up with something to make for her. And she's not one to really wear crocheted items. Now, I could make a scarf, but the likelihood of her getting out and going somewhere is slim. So I actually she doesn't know why I'm doing it, but I had a talk with her one day and thought that where she is, there will be times she wears a t-shirt and similar to leggings every day, and where normally she's quite warm and doesn't need something to give her warmth. But I'm thinking, just a light t-shirt all winter, and you don't know what the temperatures are going to be like in the home. So I asked her if she would like a cocoon cardigan, and she said she would. And a cocoon cardigan is a much looser fitting item. You can get your arm, especially her one bad arm is hard. You got to work it through. But you could not put her arm in it. You could put one arm in it, sling it around the shoulder, and drape it over the other side if you had to. If she had to do it by herself, she could do that. But with a nurse's assistant, they could get both arms in it. So I decided to make a cocoon cardigan for her, a very straightforward item to make. And I went into my stash and I got out every yarn that I had enough of in blues and purples, and she likes teal as well. I didn't have much in that. I used to have a teal latte cake and I can't find it. But anyway, I took her several and asked her which one, and she picked 2, and then we narrowed it down to the last one because it was a little bit warmer. And it happens to be a cookie from Hobie. And there's the colors, blues and purples. And I had 2 cakes of this, and I have I just last night finished the first part of it. And all it is a big rectangle. I got to make it taller. I don't know how tall it is at the moment, and I don't have a measuring tape, but I try to make it about somewhere between 25 and 30 inches tall now. I'll probably go a little shorter because she's sitting in a wheelchair always. So we don't want it really long that she will sit on it. And once you have the rectangle done, you take the end, it's probably getting close, and you put it in half and you seam it up and leave an opening for the sleeve. And you do that on both sides, and then it opens this way. And I will then go around it and make a band so it comes in, closes in over the chest a little bit better. And I have plenty in a second cake because I can see that I'm pretty close to, maybe 20 inches. So maybe I'll do 5 more inches and then I'll close it up and put the band on it. So hopefully I'll get that finished by the end of the week. And then after that, I am making that poncho. I said I wanted to make a poncho for the craft show, which is only just a little over 2 weeks away. So I don't have a lot of time left. And that's what I am doing. I will get that finished in the next 3-4 days, and I'll get my picture sent off to Gary. And I'm using a 5.5 millimeter hook, and these are the ones you get on Amazon that are just like, they're Omni hooks, and they're very much like furls. They have a little more of a point at the top than furls. They're much more rounded. So I'm quite happy with this hook. And that's what I have been working on this past week. So I'll be able to show it as a finished object next week. And next week is also the beginning of the month, and I will be doing stash down. I'm really happy. I got quite a number of items that I finished this past month and used up stash, so that is good. So, do I want this video to get even longer? Yeah, I think I will go for it. I have one of 2 orders. The second order from EFA isn't here yet, and they had a couple new bases I wanted to show you, but I need a little drink first. So I made an order from EFA because I wanted to see some of their new bases. I was really excited to give them a try. So one of them I have here is not new. I believe it was just a color I really wanted to try, and that is Oasis Fingering. And if you've seen any amount of times show EFA yarn, you know I like Oasis Fingering. It used to be the big one right behind me. I've moved it down because it's full and it's heavier, but I just thought that was a lovely, I really should have got 2 so I could make a big shawl, but I just love the color. And Oasis Fingering is just absolutely wonderful. It is 50% camel and 50% silk, so it just has to be heavenly soft. And I don't remember the properties of camel. I think they are, they keep in warmth. Then another new base they have is called All Good Things Fingering. I don't know where she gets these names, but anyway, All Good Things Fingering is 75% bamboo. So those of you that like bamboo, this is worth looking at. It's a 75% bamboo viscose, 15% merino, and 10% lyocell. And again, that is another plant item. So I have to tell you, I had to try it, and I got these 2 colors. Obviously, right? No surprise there. This one's called Shoot for the Moon, and this one is called Kindness Matters. And these are soft. Bamboo and lyocell usually are. And fine merino means they're probably using a smaller micron, which again is always very soft. It's one on the thinner side of fingering, but it feels heavenly. And it has, as usual, 400 meters, which is 437 yards. Now, I don't know if I want to put them together in something or put them with something else, but I'll tell you, I like this well enough that I would get another skein of either one or both next time I make an order, and make or get other colors that go with these and make something larger. Mind you, I could put this with something like, do these two? No, I don't think I'd put them together. Anyhow, I just want you to know, this is what I feel is part of my purpose of my channel, is by getting these yarns, I tell you something about them so you know if you want to try them. And I'm here to tell you, if you like bamboo, these are soft. They are really, really nice. And I think they're a little cheaper than some of their other yarns, but don't quote me on that because I don't remember. Here's another one of their new ones I wanted to try. And this one is called Crushed Cashmere Lace. Crushed Cashmere Lace. And it's 82% extra fine merino and 18% cashmere. But keep in mind, this is lace weight. And I'm thinking, because it's lace, this is probably a 50-gram ball. They don't put that on here. They don't put the size. Oh, there, 100. Yeah, but they don't put it on here because it has only 290 meters, and a lace weight would definitely have 500 or 600 meters in it. So here's the first one. It's called Hydrangea. Now, this one is a pretty color. I have to tell you, it's very, very soft. Let me see if I can find a strand here. I mean, this strand isn't, yeah, it is thinner. It's got a lot of fuzzy that makes it look wider. I don't know if I would use this by itself or put it with something. It's very, very soft. This might make a beautiful cowl. I just make a simple cowl. It has 290 meters or 317 yards. So I got this color hydrangea, and I got this one called Posed Pansy. And I have to tell you, I don't like this color as much as I thought I would. I mean, yes, it's purple, and it has, I don't know if it's greens and browns in it. Maybe it'll look different when I pull it apart and cake it up, but it has very much a dark browny look in it. That's that. Crushed cashmere lace. Feels lovely. I won't know until I work with it how well I like it, but I'll work with this one first because I definitely love the colors in that. Now, I'm not done. I have one other. This is all about new bases. These are all new bases, and they had one other new base that I could not pass up, and it's called Cosmic Confetti Fingering. Cosmic Confetti Fingering. It is 92% merino and 8% polyester. But it has, it doesn't say it, stellina in it. I don't know if I can get it. Can you, oh, I think you can see the sparkle there a little bit. See the sparkle in there? Yeah, there's a bit of sparkle. And I love the speckling. It almost reminds me of a tweed. See the flecks? Some of the flecks are on the yarn, but some of the colors are like in the yarn. Look at all the colors. And I got 2 of them because, and the color is frosting. There's 400 meters, 437 yards. I wanted enough to make something. I got 2 of them, but they were trying this out. This was their first color, but then they got 2 more colors. And the next color they got was black. And I ordered black at the same time, but it was pre-order, so it didn't come. It will come later. I can't wait. I might put these 2 together in one. And now they have also a red on their site. So they have 3 colors in this base. Again, it's merino and polyester, but it feels so nice. And that sparkle, I wish I could get a hint of it there. You can see a hint of it. It's very much, you can't feel the sparkle. It's very much in it. It is very, it's not a lurex. It's got to be stellina. Sitting there over the top. Yeah, I think you see a little bit of sparkle. It's in the yarn, and it's very fragile, little multicolors, speckled, blinking out at you. This is beautiful. And I have the black on order, and I intend to get the red. I might put this together with red and make like a Christmas shawl or something. Oh, this is pretty. This feels wonderful. I'm happy with these colors, and they have a good selection of colors, and it feels silky smooth. I don't know what to tell you about this other than it does feel soft, but it's going to be harder to work with, and I'm not impressed with that color. I'm going to go back and see what other colors they have, but I definitely like that. So that's an order I made with EFA, and I have another one that is in the mail, I believe. And I'm considering another one with, again, some new items. They're having a site-wide sale that ends today. And I just want to tell you, you want to keep an eye on EFA for Black Friday sales, because they have an extremely good Black Friday sale. So I just want you to know about the different yarns so you can be prepared, because that's the time to try out something. And I just like to give you that information. So that is everything. I don't know what the total is because I stopped and started about 3 or 4 times. I know I was long. I hope it wasn't overly long. And I tried to bring you a fair bit of information to share with you. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. And until then, happy hooking.